guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the brand new NECA Toys Aliens. This is the Xenomorph Warrior Battle Damaged version. Before we go in for closer looks, let's get some dimensions going. Now this one's going to be a hard one to gauge. If you count where the head should stop, it's about 9 inches tall. Now granted, there is a top part of the alien's head that's been blown right off, so we're going to go by that as our top height of the figure, which brings it to a whopping 10 inches in height. We'll move over the battle damaged version of the Alien Warrior, and we'll bring in the battle damaged version of the Alien Warrior. I don't know how this is going to work for my reviewing. What am I going to call one over the other? Because they actually both have the same name. They're both called Xenomorph Warrior Battle Damaged version. I'll have to become creative, I think, with my title. Anyways, there's the two figures side by side. Not really a whole lot different between the two figures, of course, from initial mold. And then, of course, they did a lot more extreme on both cases. It's funny actually to go looking at this one first because it initially started with just a couple of explosion shots impacting the torso area of the Alien Warrior. This one, on the other hand, got really creative, and I have to applaud NECA. They really knocked this one out of the park, knocking out of the park literally. As you can see, even like the top portion of the Alien Warrior's head has been blown right off. It has this really neat effect where, of course, you've got the explosion here on the face, but then the blood that's exploding outward, they used it as a way to hold the top portion of its head. It's really creative what they went ahead and did here. Even though the initial body looks like obviously a reuse of what we've seen before, they really went to town and put in their all, if you ask me, when it comes to the face sculpt. If you can say a face sculpt early after all of this mess. Even like the inner jaw, the smaller jaw has been shot off the face and again is levitating kind of in mid-explosion by the blood that's just splattering out from the interior cavity of the mouth. I love these little like strapped saliva strands here on the inside. Not only is it sculpted beautifully, but it's painted immaculately. It looks so good. So good. I mean, of course, if you really count, like if you just remove like this part of the jaw, like this head sculpt's been reused before, but it just goes to show making use of one existing mold and tweaking it is almost downplaying what they've done here to this head sculpt. They really have gone to town. Of course, the head is not the only thing that got impacted here on this shot. You've got one additional explosion that's on the side. Now, if we pair that up next to the other Xenomorph Warrior, it does in fact look like it's the exact same explosion. So it looks like they've just reused that aspect of it. The coloring is not that much different. This one on the left might favor a little bit more of the brown color on the tips, whereas the one on the right has a little bit more of the green elements to it. But other than that, I mean, it's not really all that much different, and clearly they just reused it, which is perfectly fine. I don't expect them to sculpt brand new explosion impact shots on all of their Xenomorph Warriors. As you can see from head to toe, it looks like it's the same body that's being molded and carried over here. From the front, from the back, not really much that's different. Of course, the color scheme is drastically different. This one favored the black underbody, and then it's been washed with like the golds and the browns. Here we've got a black underbody, I keep saying belly, underbody mold. So the plastic itself was molded black, and then they've gone in and they've washed it with blue over top of that. Usually those are the two go-to colors when they release the alien figures. It's usually shades of brown or gold, and then here it's like usually shades of the blue. I kind of like the blue myself. I don't know if it looks as realistic as the brown, but I kind of dig the blue though. I think that it really resonates a lot more the details in the sculpt of the torso, the arms, and especially the head. I think this is more successful being having the complementary, or it's not even so much complementary colors, but the blue definitely makes the explosion here, the impact on the front of the head, much more dramatic. If this was brown, I don't think this would have worked as well. It almost would have blended itself too much into the rest of what disaster is happening here. Like the other one as well, there's that little removable peg, so this can come out. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to get out, but this little section here can remove. You can get your fingers in there, get your fingers in there, get your fingers in there, wiggle it out. It is in there, it's just a little more difficult to get out. This would allow the head to tilt further back if you want to further add to the fact that this thing is being blown back by several shots by pulse rifles. Posability on this guy, we'll just move this one out of the way here. Posability is exactly the same as the one that we've already looked at. So you've got your head articulation, a ball joint more importantly. This part should come out, it's just a little bit stiffer on this particular figure. You got your universal joints on the arms, so those hinge outward, as well as you got the rotation all the way around. You got double hinge on the elbow, so you have a hinge here, right there, and then you've got a secondary hinge here. Forearm also rotates right there, and you've got the hinge in the hand. As with the other figure as well, you've got the double hinge. Basically, you got a hinge here in the hand, but then you've got a hinge here as well on the two fingers, which kind of gives you a little extra as well, a little extra oomph. You can bring the fingers forward, or again, you can bring those two back. Again, if you want to just kind of make it, because you really want to sell the fact that this thing's has gotten this exploded face here. You would think that the figure as a whole would just kind of be tilting completely backward. Ball joint in the torso here. They look like they've added just a little bit extra slime here, which was not on the other version. Just a little bit of a kind of a lighter wash going here. Then you've got your universal joints in the legs, out, double hinge on the knee. You got your hinge in the foot, and you've got hinges on 3 toes. So again, if you want to have the feet kind of arched backward, you can accomplish that much easier by having that toe articulation there as well. And let's not forget as well, it's got the wireframe in the tail. That's a go-to. That's staple when it comes to NECA releases, and luckily this one is no different. Both figures are very nicely done, although I have to say points and metal go to this one for creativity. NECA took what was already working really well with the other Battle Damaged and took this one to the far extreme. I love the explosion impact on the head. The little icing on the cake is that little dome part of its front jaw being elevated and kept in place by the exploding blood on impact. Of course, it still uses that explosion in the torso, which is a carryover to the other Battle Damaged Xenomorph Warrior, but still, this one is my favorite of the two. Let me know down below, of the two figures, which do you prefer? Do you like the one that has just more of the impacts on the torso, or do you like the extreme that NECA went when it came to this one here? The only problem I'm going to have now facing me is when I'm posting these online is which one, it's how I'm going to actually word these, that one is going to be different from the other. They should have probably titled one differently than the other. I might just say Xenomorph Warrior Battle Damaged 1, Battle Damaged 2. I don't know. I'll have to come up with something creative. At any rate, today we were having a look at the new NECA Toys Aliens. This was Battle Damaged Xenomorph Warrior Part 2. The cooler of the two. Maybe I'll just put the cooler of the two. If you guys haven't had a chance yet to subscribe to this channel, make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below. Of course, more videos will be heading your way. As always, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.